I'll spell it for you just now, I'll write it for you on the board. But I am just so excited to be able to present the very first episode of Young Africa TV. In fact, Young Africa TV isn't just one YouTube video. Young Africa TV is a channel, and this is just the very first program. I haven't decided what to call it yet. Maybe I'll call it, I thought on the way here that I should maybe call it Young Africa Today. So today is today, and today is the first episode on the Young Africa TV channel of the first program. But over the next couple of weeks and months, I'm going to introduce other very interesting people with very interesting topics that are relevant to you as a person living in Africa. Whether you are young or whether you have lived longer, doesn't really matter. But the things that we are going to talk about and the things that I'm going to present to you are things that all of us need to think about, because ultimately it is up to us how Africa will look like, up to us living here, how Africa is going to look like in the next 30 years. And I'm now 56 years old, and when I'm 86, I want to look back at 30 years of doing things and helping people to do things so that we can build this beautiful continent that God has created for us and where He has placed us. Now, like I said, my name is Reinhild Niebuhr. I'm going to write it here on the whiteboard so that you don't have to wonder about it in future. R-E-I-N-H-I-L-D and Niebuhr, N-I-E-B-U-H-R. Oh, it's disappearing. This pen I can get rid of. I will use another one. Let me put that away. Let's test the next one. Sorry, I didn't test this before. This looks better. Here is my last name, N-I-E-B-U-H-R. Now, Reinhild is a very old German name. Germanic, it comes from Germany, and it's divided into two parts. Now, why am I explaining this? Because I know that in Africa, names mean a lot. They tell a story. And I have learned that it's important to remember the story, and it's important to know what does your name mean. Because in fact, every single day, someone is calling you your name. And that name has qualities, and as your brain hears that word, it starts developing those qualities. So if your name is gladness, or mercy, or happiness, or Siyabonga, or Liu, then you must understand that your brain is hearing a word that is creating qualities in you. You are someone who is, and who should nurture that quality of happiness, of thankfulness in Siyabonga, and of being courageous like a lion and respected like a king. And these are things that you need to embrace. Our name is our brand, and our brand is what we become and what we present to the world. Now, my parents called me this name. I have no idea why. I asked them one day, they just said they thought it was nice, but they didn't really know the meaning. That is the interesting thing, and that is where I think that sometimes God works in mysterious ways, and He plants an idea in someone's mind about a name. And so my name is Reinhild, and Rein comes from the word regna, which means ruling, which means leading. And Hild is the same as good. Now, what is very interesting is that Hild is actually good advice. And so my name means I'm someone, as a woman, who provides good advice to leaders. And so I see myself as that. In fact, for many years, I worked as a strategic consultant in the field of communications. I was advising leaders of organizations how to best communicate with the people that they had to deal with. And so I became a strategic advisor. So I may not be a leader myself, but I am certainly somebody who has knowledge that can help you become a leader. And I can give you knowledge about how to become a leader of your own life, a leader in your family, a leader in your community, and ultimately play a leading role on this continent and globally. Our world needs leaders who know where they're going, and leaders who know how to blaze the path, because everything has changed. Everything has changed. And we need to identify those things from the past that we must take into the future, those things we must leave behind because they're no longer serving us, and we need to choose how are we going to shape the future. So that is what I am all about. That is what my name is all about, and that is what I do. My last name is Nibor, and that is Danish for neighbor. I am your neighbor. And you know the Bible teaches you that you must love your neighbor, so you must love me. I will love you. You are my neighbor. I will love you, and I'm everyone's neighbor. So you will never forget my name again. Now it is a bit of a complicated name. So some of my friends call me Rainbow. And I love that name because I am part of the Rainbow Nation. And I'm very excited not to live in a boring nation where everybody looks the same. I'm very happy to live in South Africa, which is the Rainbow Nation, where we have people of all kinds of cultures and backgrounds and looks and beliefs, and it's fascinating. And in fact, in honor of my name, my other name, I decided to wear my rainbow coat today. This is a jersey that was knitted by a Danish designer. And I was explaining to one of my colleagues that this is the most expensive clothing item in my cupboard. I've never spent as much money because I bought it in Germany, and you know the rand and the euro is dangerous. But I just like the colors, and it goes with my rainbow name. And so if you don't want to call me Reinhild because it's too complicated, just call me Rainbow. Thank you for listening to my introduction. I will be back with you after the break. So in this very first episode of Young Africa Today, I want to explain to you the Young Africa Vision. I'm the founder of the Young Africa Vision. And where does this come from? Now, this vision is really a work in progress. It is not my vision. I'm just saying that everyone of us living in Africa needs to have a vision. We need to cultivate, we need to grow and develop a vision of how we want this continent to look like, so that we can work together towards that vision. Now, the Young Africa Vision that I have worked on for many years now is really based around the fact that I believe that Africa is going to be changed through its youth. I believe that especially the age group of 18 to 24 is going to be our fulcrum point. Now, I don't know if you know what a fulcrum point is, and I will explain it to you now. What is it that I mean if I say young people in Africa who are unemployed and who are aged 18 to 24 are the fulcrum point of change for our continent? And what I mean by that is, it's awkward to write like this, but anyway, I hope you can see it. The Young Africa Vision says that if we look at the population of Africa, we are now over 1 billion people. Of those, about half of us are under 15, children. Can we expect the children to make the difference here in Africa? Not in the first instance. We're supposed to look after the poor kids. They're not supposed to do stuff for us. We're the ones that are grown up. We're supposed to do something for the children. We're supposed to create an environment where the children can develop themselves very well. So anyone who's younger than 15, we really shouldn't expect them to change the continent. That's half of us. Then we have another 30% of people. These 30% are between 15 and 35. Now that is the group that we would call the youth. Why am I excited about these young people? Why? Because they have the energy. They also are able to do something that can be productive, especially if you are unemployed now. If you start doing something that can make money tomorrow, you're contributing to the economy. You're going to create more wealth for this continent. And that is why I want to focus on working with that age group. And then you have the other 20%, which is left, which is over 35. Now those are the adults, and about 10% of those are even over 60, over 70 in Africa. We have a huge youth population, which is fantastic. It's also why the global market is going to be focusing on Africa in the next 30 years. Because if you look at, for instance, information from the World Bank and from other international organizations that are gathering statistics about the world, you will see that there's an expectation that most of the children will be born in Africa over the next 30 years. And that in fact, by 2050, we will have 9 billion people living in Africa. And this will be more people than in the rest of the world together. We will have more people here in Africa, and that means more consumers, more people will want to buy things from China, from Europe, from America. Africa is the most exciting continent to be alive in at this point in time. At the same time, this continent has massive natural and mineral resources. Everybody wants to come here. The Indians come here to take the coal. The Chinese come here to take whatever. You know, the Americans come here to take uranium out of the Sudan. I shouldn't be talking about that, but there are a lot of people who want things. The French are here, and they've been here for a long time, taking the cotton and the cacao, the cocoa, cheaply out of West Africa, which is causing its own set of problems, which we will be talking about here on the channel. So I'm not saying that we mustn't do trade with everybody else in the world. Of course we want to do trade. And of course there are things that we can learn from others and that we can use from others. But we need to understand that this is not a poor continent. Africa is the continent of opportunity. Africa is the continent of abundance. It has an abundance of brain power because it has an abundance of children, of youth. It has an abundance of energy and of human energy and of human intelligence. And really, the diamonds in this continent are not really the ones that you take out of the mine. The real value, the real jewels of this continent are the children and it's the youth. And that is where we need to put our investment, and that is where I will invest. I learned about a man who's called William Keith Kellogg, and he would make a lot of money from selling cornflakes. Anyway, I'll park that thought. But he said after he had made a lot of money, he founded the Kellogg Foundation. And this organization has done a lot of good things, also good things, especially in Southern Africa. But what he said is, I'll invest my money in people. And that is what I decided. I decided I will invest my time and my energy. I don't have much money. I don't need a lot of money. I don't think about money as a main thing for my life. I want to spend my energy in people. And I choose to spend my energy in young people in Africa, specifically the ones aged 18 to 24. Why? Because this is a group of around 200 million young people that are sitting there wondering what they must do, walking slowly from one place to the next because they don't know where to go. Crazy. I want to get every single one of you, if you are 18 to 24 on this continent, or if you are 25 to 35 and you are walking slowly, you must keep watching this channel because I'm going to make you run. You're going to have so much fun and you won't have time to walk slowly. You're going to see all the opportunities and you are going to be running. You're going to create a beautiful, beautiful continent, and then of course you are going to learn how to rest, because just running and chasing the bucks is not a life. I can tell you that. Been there, done that, not worth it at all. In the end you sit with truckloads full of, let me call it junk. I've just sorted out my parents' house. I've sorted out my own things. My husband died 2 years ago. I had to sort out his things. So much stuff. Really, it's not worth it. Life is so much more important than stuff. Yes, it's nice to have beautiful things, and we do need one of each, you know. We need at least one jug. We need a knife for cutting our bread. We don't need two. You know what I'm saying? One pot, it's enough. Soup, there we go. We don't need to have a lot of things. We just need the basics, and then we need to share with others, and then we need to experience life. Because God made this beautiful world, and most people don't even leave their hometown. They stay stuck. That's not going to be you. You are going to make sure you've got your ID, and then you're going to make sure you've got your passport. Why? Because you're going to go places. If you keep on watching this channel, you're going to go places. So well, actually it doesn't help if you just watch it. You must do what I say. You must also do what I teach you. And you must also find other people to listen to and do what they teach you, if it makes sense to you. And then we can create a beautiful young African vision. In the meantime, I want you to start thinking, how do you want your life to look like? Okay, in the previous section, I was just quickly talking about the fulcrum point. Now, somebody's got to Google for me. Let me Google, because I can't remember what's the first name of the guy after whom the fulcrum point has been named. But let's just see, where does the name fulcrum come from? You guys may have already found it much faster, but I'm talking and multitasking, which is never a good idea. Okay, this is interesting. Wow. Okay. No man, this is something about Star Wars. I'm not interested in that. Somebody hijacked the name fulcrum. Fulcrum name and meaning. I have no idea. Anyway, let me not spend too much time on that. All I can say is Google is fantastic because you get all kinds of fun things. But fulcrum is obviously the name of some scientist that came up with this thing and called it. So then it's the fulcrum point. But what this is, what is a fulcrum point? The other day I was talking to a team of people that I mentor, and I tried to explain what is a fulcrum point. And I said, imagine yourself trying to get a piece of land ready for planting. Now, you have removed all the small stones and rocks, you have plowed it, you've dug it over, but now there's this one rock that is just too heavy for you to lift. It's not something that needs a truck or anything, it's just too heavy for you to lift. So what are you going to do about this thing? Now imagine there's a thing in your life. It's like this one problem. There's one problem that you have that you can't seem to solve on your own. You don't know what to do. So then I said, what must you do? And then one of the team members said, you must sit on the rock and you must start praying. And I started laughing. Because absolutely, we always have to pray for wisdom. But the Bible teaches us to pray and work. And in fact, Dr. Martin Luther, who is one of the great theologians who knew the Bible very well, also always emphasized that we must pray, but we must also work. We as human beings must do what is possible for us, and we must leave over the things that are impossible for us to God. We must focus on the things that are possible, and we must leave the rest to God, which is impossible. So now absolutely sit on that rock and pray for wisdom of how to move it. And I'm sure the Holy Spirit will give you this answer. He will say, get a stick or a piece, something that you can use to lift it. So now for instance, if I take this here and I put this, let's imagine this one is the rock and this one is the stick. Then you put it underneath it and it will lift it. And that point where it lifts it, can you see it's busy lifting it here? There. That is the fulcrum point. And that is what I'm talking about, that we need to think about what is the fulcrum point that's going to change the continent. And I have come to the conclusion that it's this group of people. 18 to 24-year-olds are the fulcrum point. If you are older than that, but you are also unemployed, absolutely, go and join that group, become one of the fulcrum point people. But if you are already working, which very often is the case, then think about how you can enable your younger brother or sister, or if you are even older, how can you enable your child to become part of the fulcrum point? Why am I saying this is the fulcrum point? Because imagine if we can get 200 million young people in Africa to start becoming productive and economically active and start generating an income. Isn't that going to just give the continent a huge boost? The whole economy is going to flourish. each of those young people, as they learn to make money, as they learn to generate an income, as they learn to be of service to others, so that what they do is worthwhile for other people to pay them. As they generate that income, they will want to buy a nice jersey like this, or a nice little mini like this, or a camera or a smartphone, or food, or go to the hairdresser, or have their nails done, or go and watch a soccer game where they're willing to pay for, or buy a cool t-shirt. Come here, here is my line director. Can I please ask Leo to come? Take off your jacket, I want to show you. I want to show you this cool top that he's wearing. Here we go. Look at this. Look at this. What is this saying? Infinite limitless potential. Escaping the past, exploring the future, exploring the present, expecting the future. Now, this is exactly what we have to do. We have to, each one of us, we have to create an enabling environment if we are older than 35, for the ones who are younger, and we have to let everyone know, including yourself, that we have infinite limitless potential. God didn't create dummies, and He didn't create waste material. He created lean, clean, green, clever thinking and walking machines. And that is us. We have to start using this brain power between our ears to shape and create the world that we want to live in. Thank you very much. Lovely shirt. I like it a lot. Thank you. So in the last session of this first program of Young Africa Today, I want to explain to you that I didn't only focus on a Young Africa vision, but I also started working with a lot of different people. I've been very privileged in traveling all over, mainly Southern Africa, but also I've been to East Africa, I've been to West Africa, I've been to North Africa. I've been to very interesting places, and I've been to other parts of the world as well. North America, South America, Europe. I've not been to Asia. I can't wait to go to the East. I'm looking forward to doing that in the next half of my life. Spend quite a bit of time in the East. But still, at this point in time, I just want to explain to you that I started listening and I started thinking, and of course I was praying, because I have a worldview in which God exists. In my worldview, there is a God, and there is the God, and He is the God of love, and He loves us because we are His children. He created us. We are made from Him. So He wants the best for us, and He's not an angry God. He loves us, and He can get angry, I can tell you that, but that's not His point. His point is to love us and we can live in His love. But I believe that the understanding that I gained about what we need to do in order to really, or what I need to focus on when it comes to Africa, is really 6 strategies. There are 6 strategic areas where I, with the Young Africa's vision, am going to focus on. And you may focus on completely different things, but these are the 6 things that I believe every single local community in Africa can benefit from. I was thinking of the things that we can do to create economy on a local level, where we are not going to be scared of competition from outside, because there are many areas of work. Technology is one of them, clothing production is another one, you know, mass manufacturing. The Chinese really have taught the world a lesson there, and so on. So I also believe that different cultures promote different skills, and African culture really promotes the skill of relationship. I also think that if you look at the world, you see Africa. I'm just going to draw it like this, and then you see Asia, and you have of course Europe here, and then you see America. Now, Africa's position is in the middle. It is a connector. Africa is a connector. Africa is all about relationship, and in fact human life is about relationship. It's about our relationship to God, It's about our relationship to one another. It's about our relationship to our environment. And that is really the key I found about life. It's about relationship. But so we all need to work together. But what Africa can really bring to the world is a sense of community, a sense of togetherness, a sense of finding creative ways of enjoying each other's company. And Africa is so beautiful, and Europe is so full. I mean, people talk about overpopulation, and then I think, yeah, I know there's some places in the world that are overpopulated. Africa is not one of them. Africa is not overpopulated. We have highly densely populated areas around the big cities where everybody wants to live and look for work. But the rest of the place is pretty empty. Trust me, I've flown over it. So there's not much going on. So the 6 strategic areas which I believe local economies can grow from is firstly you have the core things. These are the anchor industries. So you have 3 times anchor industries. And this is something that each community needs and each community can benefit from. Of those, the very first one has to do with health. And health is all about food. Food, and of course it's about movement. It's also about movement, and it's also about psychological health, what we think, our thoughts. Do we have happy thoughts? Do we have good thoughts? Or do we have negative thoughts? So that's all around health. The second one is around ecology. Ecology is all around nature. And in fact, I should say that this is not food, this is nutrition. There's a difference between food and nutrition. But ecology is about growing food. Growing food. Because the best food for us is the food that grows in the grass, in the ground. But also animals that grow, and we can use them for food. I feel sorry for them, I don't like to eat animals. But I will if I have to. And but generally we need to learn about growing food, and then we have energy. We have energy, and here in Africa we are blessed with enormous renewable energy, which is solar. We have the sun. We have the sun literally shining all year round. It's just fantastic. So we have a fantastic source of energy. At the moment, of course, we also have mining, which is also giving us a source of energy in terms of the fossil fuels, the coal. And we have mining for the metals, which Africa has an abundance of. But then we have the nature is also including the wildlife. And this is something where Africa definitely has an advantage above other parts of the world. We still have a lot of wildlife. We have a big 5, it's fantastic. We have a lot of other things as well. And we can invite people to come here. I set my alarm because I often speak too long. But I'm going to ask you to switch this off for me because obviously I'm doing something wrong. So that is the second. The third one is education. We have entered the time of self-education. We really are in a time where we need to self-educate because our educational systems are struggling to cope. We have too few adults in Africa. This is why I designed a leadership and entrepreneurship program, which is really based on group education and on personal self-education. And we have a fantastic thing around having access to the internet, which can teach us things from all over the world that we didn't know before. So education is a big thing, and it starts from 0 to 100 and plus. We never stop learning. From the time, in fact, it starts even from -0. It starts with the mother being educated enough to have the information she needs to care for the child. The father to understand how his presence during the pregnancy is important for the child. All of these things are things, that we have to focus on the jewel. We have to polish the jewel, and we have to be present in the life of our children. And if we can't be physically present, then we need to understand the ways in which we can still have a meaningful contribution of love, that our children know love. And all knowledge is transferred through love. We wouldn't teach anyone if we didn't love them. In fact, teachers who love the children that they teach the students have a much better success rate. And so I just want to say to you, I love you. I don't know you yet, but I love you already. I love you, otherwise I wouldn't do this. I love you so much because I want you to be successful. And I hope that you will see that I love you through the things that I teach you. Because I believe that love is the answer to really every problem in the world. We must love each other. And so these are the three anchor industries. And then we have the key economic drivers. Now, the key economic drivers in any community is a bit of a unique thing in a particular community. Every community can have these. Every community can start economies around this. And as you start these anchor economies, all the service things about what a human being needs come around. But when you come to the key economic drivers, then you have the first one is, they're not in a particular order, but one of them is around community. And community has to do with infrastructure. This is about infrastructure. This is about building the roads, bringing the water, bringing the energy. This is about managing the waste. There is no waste. In fact, when I teach, I just remind everyone there is no waste. There are only resources that we have to reuse in different ways. But community, infrastructure is one. The next one is about innovation. Innovation, and you can call this technology, but this is about saying all the time we humans develop new things of doing things in a way that makes more sense. Like now, quite frankly, I can't wait for the day when everybody who's now working underground in the mine is sitting at home with a little remote control managing a machine, a robot that's in the mine, instead of themselves being in the mine. I can't wait for that, because then that dad isn't away from home. One of the biggest tragedies of our communities, especially in Southern Africa, is that men leave their homes and leave the children at home because they go underground into the mine or they disappear into the city to try and make a living. That is what Young Africa Vision wants to turn around. We want men to be able to make a living and women to be able to make a decent living wherever they are. You don't have to leave home to make a living. But innovation is about all the things, all the cool things we can develop and all the cool things that already exist. And then the last one, I have infrastructure, I have innovation, and now what is the last one? I've forgotten it. What is my last strategic one? I'm going to ask you all to guess. I'll tell you tomorrow in my next issue, in my next program, and I will give away a prize to anyone who guesses the right one. What is the sixth strategy of creating economy on a local level? Oh, I know already what it is, but I still want you to guess. Join me tomorrow and you'll find out, and if you are the one that has guessed it, I have a prize for you. Or if you are the 50, I can also give a prize. Let's say the first one that has the answer, I will give a prize to. Thank you for watching. Love you.